Very warm welcome back everybody. This is the next video in the series about parking in motorway service stations for caravans and motorhomes. And today we're looking at Chieveley services, which is the same as junction 13 on the M4. So as you can see from this macrame of roads, you can get to it from either the M4 or the A34 itself. And it's one service station that serves all four directions, so north, south, east and west. And you come in through this slight spaghetti of roundabouts. Now, as we'll see from the drive-through in a minute, the images that are currently on Google Maps are slightly misleading because there's been a huge change in the lorry parking, which is presumably where caravans are expected to go because there's no specific labelling itself. So here it looks all very sensibly laid out. Three lovely parallel rows, drive-in, drive-out spaces all the way through, so nice and easy to navigate. But that is no longer the case. It's not absolutely terrible, but when it's busy, it's certainly not like it used to be from the looks of things, which we'll see from the drive-through in a minute. Anyway, because the service station serves all these directions, you have to use the little mini roundabouts to get yourself back to where you're going, which can feel a little disorientating. And I've got the drive-through that so you can see. We were coming from the east, so heading in a westerly direction. So we came off the M4, turned left into the service station, and then negotiated our way round these roundabouts to get out and head back west again as we were on our way to Cirencester. So let's just have a little look at what it looks like as you drive in from these lovely Google images, and it gives you a bit of an idea because there's a couple of things to watch out for on the way in here. So first off, when you come off the roundabout into the service station itself, make sure you don't pull into this road on the side. That's for a service area for highway maintenance trucks. And then the junction you want is the second one, which is this one into the service station itself. Now, as you pull around here, there are two lanes. There are still two lanes marked. It's just the parking that's laid out a bit differently. So first you go around the mini roundabout, taking the first exit off, and then you've got a choice of on the right cars and coaches, or on the left HGVs and lodge. Now, lodge is the hotel that they've got there. So in the absence of a specific label for caravans, I always take the HGV route, which means coming around to the left. Now also pay attention to these two signs here, because depending on where you park, for your long-term parking, you may find yourself charged £25 or £16. So if you do want to use this area overnight, make sure you are parked up in the correct spot. Alright, so coming around into lorries, it looks like it's fairly sensible, but as I said, that's not the case. So let's get to the drive-through. Here we are, coming along a rather rainy M4. We're about to exit off to the left, so that's the same junction for junction 13 or the Chieveley services themselves. Okay, so here we are, exiting off left. This is a Moto services. Remember, in the other videos, the pattern I've noticed is that welcome break seems a lot more welcoming to caravanners. Moto not so much, so I'm not expecting too much here. So as you see, we're coming to the junction, the roundabout junction, and we want to be in the left-hand lane to turn left at the bottom. These days this junction isn't too bad because a bypass was made for the roundabout itself because it's such a busy road coming down the A34 where it crosses the M4 here. So now there's a bypass in this junction, is much more sensible and a bit quieter. But that's why it's quite so enormous. It used to take so much traffic. So left here onto what would be the A34 slip. Mind out here not to turn in that first one, so that's just for the motorway maintenance folks, but we're in the services lane ready to turn into the second turn here. And almost as soon as we've turned, we find ourselves at the mini roundabout, where we need to take the first junction off and then decide if we're going in cars and coaches or lorries, HGVs and lodge. So we'll follow around with the HGVs. Now, see what I mean here? There's an extra two roads for cars, and there's this massive central reservation concrete gravel bollarding thing with an HGV parked in the middle of it that's blocking absolutely all access to the first two of those three parallel roads we saw in our overview earlier. So there's actually only one route round on the right into these far parallel spaces, or round into the left section. So it's certainly not as easy as it used to be. Now here you should be able to nip through into the car fueling station, but as you can see there are 2 or 3 pumps for all the lorry fuel and an awful lot of lorries that want it, so that is probably a completely blocked route, so hopefully you don't want fuel at this point. Anyway, you have to come around the edge, which is very badly made and covered in cross hatching, to be able to get down around the side of those lorries as they're all queuing up at the pump for fuel. And then we start the whole process of going around mini roundabouts. Now be very careful here, because it looks like you need to go on either side of the road, but actually, as you can see, I've completely screwed it up and ended up on the no entry lane because of the amount of leaves blocking the other side. And then we're back round the little spaghetti of roads, some of which are well marked as this way and some of which are no entry because it's on-site traffic for the service station itself, but it's not exactly obvious. And then we just follow round. We can see where the road is that we want to get to. We just need to decide which particular of these little roads that we need to follow down to get to where we want to go.
Okay, can you hold on to whatever that thing is that's moving?
So remember what I said earlier about it being a little disorientating. If you've got so many mini roundabouts, you end up pointing in a direction that you don't think you're actually pointing in, and then end up this lorry has clearly got itself a little deranged to it, because goodness knows how it ended up coming down in that direction. Anyway, follow the mini roundabouts around. Most of the main signs are reasonably well pointed out. Anyway, follow the mini roundabouts around. It's quite helpful if you've got a sat-nav running, because it gives you an idea of exactly where you are, because as you can see we've completely crossed under the A34 there, and we're just about to rejoin the dual carriageway itself. It's quite busy at this junction to get up onto the M4.
There you go. Okay, well then.
So it's quite busy, but we do get our own running lane, which makes life a lot easier as we are going left to continue heading west. Alright, so that was a tour of Chieveley services. Doesn't score particularly highly on my ratings of good facilities and good clear parking, mainly because it's just a crazy spaghetti of roads to go round and round and round. But I guess the flip side of that is at least it's accessible from many different routes.
Okay, there we go.
Though the parking isn't the greatest. Anyway, we are off to Cirencester, so thanks so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up if it was useful, and of course don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we will catch you in the next one. So bye for now.
Yep.